You ever find yourself standing in a store aisle looking at a product and just wondering, what do all these labels actually mean? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how those claims on the shelf connect directly to a company's balance sheet, turning marketing buzzwords into hard data. Okay, so picture this. You're walking through a big retail store. You are literally surrounded by thousands of different products. Every single one has its own package, its own story, and a whole bunch of promises about what's inside. You know the ones I'm talking about. Labels shouting about being eco-friendly or responsibly sourced. But how do we actually know? Whether you're a shopper or an investor, how can you tell if that's just good marketing or if there's something real backing it up? And that right there is where the whole perspective shifts, from the shopping cart to the stock portfolio. See, for an investor, a vague promise just doesn't cut it. To really understand a company's health, its risks, its opportunities, they need cold, hard, comparable data.
So the big question is, how do you turn these kind of fuzzy ideas about sustainability into actual numbers that investors can crunch and analyze? Well, you need a rule book, a standardized set of rules for everyone. And that's exactly where sustainability accounting standards come in.
The Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, or SASB for short, creates these standards for different industries. Their entire goal is to cut through all the marketing noise, to stop greenwashing, and to help companies report on the sustainability stuff that actually affects their financial performance. And they have to do it in a way that's consistent and reliable.
Now, for retailers, SASB lays out a whole range of topics, everything from how they manage energy to their data security. But for this explainer, we're going to zero in on one really crucial area: product sourcing, packaging, and marketing.
So let's start with the first metric because this one is fascinating. It creates a direct line between those eco-labels you see on the shelf and a company's actual bottom line. And here's the kicker. Companies can't just say, oh yeah, we sell sustainable products. No way. They have to report the exact revenue, down to the dollar, that comes from items that have been certified by an independent third party. It literally turns a marketing claim into a financial figure you can track.
And we're not talking about some obscure certifications here. These are labels you probably see all the time. Think Fair Trade on your coffee or FSC on paper and furniture. The standard says companies have to track every single sale from products with these kinds of labels and report it.
Okay, so that's the outside of the box. Now for our next metric, let's talk about what's inside it. We're shifting from the visible certifications to something much less visible but incredibly important: the chemicals that make up the products themselves. This metric basically forces a company to open up its playbook. It has to explain, step by step, how it's finding and managing the risks that come with chemicals in the stuff it sells. And this is a huge deal for consumer safety, for protecting the brand, and of course, for staying on the right side of regulations.
And when it comes to managing chemicals, there are two main ways to think about it. A hazard-based approach is pretty simple. It says, this chemical is known to be toxic, so we're not going to use it, period. But a risk-based approach is a bit more nuanced. It asks, okay, what's the actual chance of this chemical causing harm to someone in the tiny amount used in this specific product? Companies have to tell investors which strategy they're using.
All right, and finally, let's talk about the part of the product we all interact with first. And let's be honest, the part we throw away first, the packaging.
And no, a company can't just slap a recyclable logo on the box and call it a day. They have to actually discuss their concrete, real-world strategies for cutting down the environmental footprint of all their packaging. This is huge because it can affect everything from landfill wastes to their own shipping costs.
And to do this right, they have to think in layers. First, you've got the primary packaging. That's the bottle your soda's in. Then the secondary, like the plastic rings holding a six-pack together. And finally, the tertiary, which is the big cardboard box everything gets shipped in. A truly good strategy has to address all three. And the strategies they have to talk about are super specific. Are they making packages lighter? Are they using more recycled materials? Are they designing it so it's actually easy for you to recycle at home? They even have to talk about cube utilization, which is just a fancy way of saying they're playing Tetris with their shipping boxes to get rid of wasted air and fit more stuff on every truck. It's where sustainability and logistics totally overlap.
So, let's pull all this together. We've got certified revenue, we've got chemical management, and we've got packaging strategies. So what? Why does bundling all this information together actually matter?
Well, here's the bottom line. It completely changes the conversation from vague storytelling to actual data analysis. For the first time, an investor can compare Company A's packaging strategy directly against Company B's because they're both playing by the same set of rules. It creates a truly level playing field.
And let's be perfectly clear about the end game here. The standard itself says this is all about finding risks and opportunities that could seriously affect a company's cash flow, its ability to get a loan, or how much it costs them to raise capital. This isn't just about feeling good. This is about financial performance, plain and simple.
So it really leaves us with a powerful question, doesn't it? When every single company has to lay its cards on the table, when they have to report their certified revenue, their chemical strategy, their packaging efficiency, the choice for investors becomes so much clearer. It's no longer about who promises the most, but about who can actually prove it with the data.